Hi, and thank you for checking in and sitting with me as we explore the conversation of what your inner landscape is. What is the landscape of your soul? And so, as we've been talking about in these calls, there's the landscape of your soul that holds kind of the essence of who you are, and you access it by looking inward, by your inner landscape, and by connecting with nature, your outer landscape. And so on Wednesdays, I have my Facebook Live talks on how to access your inner landscape. And on Instagram, every morning, I have short vignettes, if you will, on how to connect with your outer landscape. So thanks for joining. And I'm Damini Celebrate, and what I like to do first is kind of create sacred space. Create sacred space so we can all come in outside of our swirly, busy mind, day, life, and just kind of come into our body, come into our heart for a little while, and then we'll take it from there. Some of the best ways I like to come into my body and my inner landscape is by giving myself the opportunity to ground and to use all my senses to kind of settle into my body. And so the first thing I like to do is to light a candle. And the candle for me represents the heart light, my heart light, your heart light, the light of the sun, the element of fire, the spirit of fire. And then I like to use some incense or use sound to also sing our body, mind, spirit to come inward. So a lot of healing happens when we reprogram our body, mind, spirit. And so getting into rituals and routines really helps your being know what you're about to do. So for creating sacred space for myself or for classes that I create, always starts with a candle, some smudge, some incense, some sound. And so because we're on a call, you can't really quite smell the incense that I'm using. And so let's imagine that the sound does two things. The first thing that it'll do is let go of whatever you don't need to hold on to. So it's smudging, it's clearing away whatever you don't need to hold on to right now. And the second thing that the fairy bell does is it kind of wakes up that curious, delightful, beautiful part of yourself. So close your eyes. And let the sound let go of whatever you don't need to hold on to right now. And as things come up, you really want to let them go. Take a nice breath out. And let that help get rid of whatever you don't want to hold on to right now. Great. And now notice how you feel. Part of retraining your body, mind, spirit, muscle memory is to keep coming back to your body wisdom. Keep coming back to noticing how your body feels. So how do you feel Now that you've gotten to let go of some things, as you've gotten to come into your body a little bit more. And so bring your awareness back to your body and wherever your body is touching the earth as well. So you want to get grounded. And allow the energy of the earth to yield to you and allow you to yield to the earth. Again, this is a really beautiful way of coming out of your head and into your belly. Out of your head and into the feeling place instead of the woulda, coulda, shoulda, woulda, have to place. And again, notice how you feel when you come into your body. Now, with your eyes closed, I'm going to use the fairy bells again, and we're going to invite the fairy bells to kind of wake up. Wake up your creative heart. Awaken this part of you that is just desiring to be free, to be you. Beautiful. And notice how you feel again as you come into your body. So we've talked about over the past month the concept of the body and the concept of the mind last week. And I want to just touch on the word spirit. In certain circles, we use the word body, mind, spirit all the time. And in fact, most of the time we use those as one sentence, talking about that there is no difference between the body, between the mind, between the spirit, and that we look at it, body, mind, spirit, as a whole unit, as a whole way that we move through the world. So, for instance, if you get a chronic illness and you have shoulder pain or something like that, it can be caused by shoulder pain, could be caused by the bones. It also can be caused by an emotion that's often governed by your chakras or your meridians. Or it can be caused by something in your spirit that is not living fully. So you can say a limiting belief or something like that. In Chinese medicine, almost all illness, chronic illness especially, starts from the emotions, starts from something being stuck. And I think we talked about this last week a little bit, where when anything slows down, when anything becomes dragging or loses life force, if that's in the body, like if you sprain something and it doesn't move, that it's hard to get that limb to go again. In the mind, if you kind of get stuck in a pattern, stuck in a rut, like it used to be believed that you could not change your brain pathways, you could not change your brain patterns or your limiting patterns. But that's wrong, because now we know about something in science called neuroplasticity that actually talks that you can reroute your brain patterns. And then you can get an illness, a chronic illness, if you're just not living the life the way you want to live it. And we see this often. We see people who have made choices, mostly out of fear, to not be the person they want to be. and they look old quicker, or they're just miserable human beings because they're not giving themselves the opportunity to live their life the way they want to live. And that's not a judgment, that's really just a statement of fact. And so when you work with the concepts in Painting the Landscape of Your Soul, that book, or this book right here, you can find different ways to connect with your body, mind, spirit, to create free flow, to create energy movement in your life. And so perhaps you work with something like a limiting belief that's really stuck in your mind, or we can say, I can't because that belief. That belief can slow down your spirit, and then it can actually create physical illness. And so when you touch that feeling, when you come back into your body, when you come back to this painting process that is body-centered, you can start allowing your body to lead the conversation about what and where the fear is coming from. And so this work, because it's governed by color, shape, and form, it's governed, by your subconscious leading the way. And you know, one of our first languages, or one of our first pre-verbal languages, was color and shape and form and music. But that's for a different conversation. And so to allow your intuition and your body center, your body wisdom, to have the time to touch into what's in the way, right? And so we're talking about fear at this moment, to allow, to touch that fear in your body, whether you're totally conscious of it or not, and allow it to express itself with paint, is an incredibly powerful healing process. And some of you may know this and some of you may not know this, but prior to starting the expressive arts part of my life, I guess, and teaching and facilitating workshops online and in person, I did acupuncture and subtle energy healing and shamanic healing for about 25 years. And so when I started working with the expressive arts for myself and for other people, what I saw was the pattern of exactly the healing process that people went through on a massage table or in a healing treatment, was the exact process that people were going through when they were painting the landscape of your soul, which tells me that this work unsticks or gets moving or balances or harmonizes the emotions that are in our body, in our mind, and in our spirit, and allows us to be more authentically us, to live a life that's true and right for us. And so that's kind of the summary of body, mind, spirit. They are not necessarily separate, although in more traditional Western medicine, there's a doctor for your body, there's a doctor for your mind, and there's doctors for your spirit. And they're all important people, but it's also super important to know that together, body, mind, spirit is actually the way to look at all of the parts of you so you can be the magnificent person that you are. So today, today I was going to talk about doing some exercises about working with your spirit. And I feel like there's one thing I really want to touch on here. Most of you that are listening are adults, and adults have this thing about needing to do whatever they're doing perfectly. And chances are, if it's not perfect, we don't do it at all. And so I like to call this our inner perfectionist, who really doesn't like to get messy, really wants to know exactly where they're going, wants to do it right. Come on, don't we all want to do it right? But doing it right holds us back. You know, if you think a square has to look like this and you spend all this time, if we're talking about a painting, right? If we spend all this time making that square a perfect square, then we have lost the joy in it. Now, our minds may be thriving completely, going, oh, yeah, it's 2.5 centimeters this way, and this way. But it contracts you. You just feel about it. Think about it. If you wanted to draw a square and versus kind of measuring a square, it brings you into a different aspect of your body. And so our inner perfectionist really wants things to look right, wants things to be beautiful, wants to make a flower look like a flower, wants a face to look like a face, wants it to get the gold star, wants to get 3 or 4 or 5 gold stars, wants to get hung on the refrigerator, wants to be told, way to go. But being a perfectionist takes some of the life force, takes some of the joy of what you're trying to do. I know. And so what I like to do today is invite you to make an ugly painting. Like, just get it out of your system. And if you want to know, I'm on page 138. It is called, where are we? Make an ugly painting and get it out of your system. And so the only way that you can do this is to come into your body, and if you can, use your hands, paint with your hands, or paint with kids' paints. Paint, not things that give you super fine, lovely lines. Don't worry if what colors mix together to make a color. What I want you to do is, for the next 10 minutes or more, is go back to your body. Go back to your body, go back to your heart, go back to your inner 4-year-old and say, make an ugly painting. This desire to be perfect is going to hold you back from life. Perfect is a control issue. I should know. You know, I spent a lot of years trying to be perfect, or a lot of minutes in the day, this day, trying to be perfect. But perfect is going to hold you back. Perfect is not going to allow you to fly in the way that your soul is meant to fly. So what I like you to do is take out your journal and your paper or notebook, and right in front of you, kind of like what I have here, is get out all your paints and crayons and paper and just put it out there, right? And then when you're ready, close your eyes and come back into your body. Feel where you are in your body. Feel your feet on the ground. And I'm going to read something to you. And what I'd like you to do is just notice where in your body this feeling starts. So let's first start acknowledging your biggest fear. What if I mess up this painting? What if I don't like it? What if I make it ugly? What if nobody likes it, including myself? Is this mantra, chant, prayer, is this your process? Are you worried about making a product, making something that you can give to somebody else? Because the work to discovering your soul self is the process of allowing yourself to unfold. It's not about making a pretty product. It's not about making a painting that looks like somebody else. It's about expressing you. It's always what's important about what you learn about yourself, not what it ends up looking like. So here's an opportunity to make the ugliest painting that you can make. Don't even think about skipping this exercise, folks, because it's important. The fear of not doing something right, in this case, ugly, not perfect, can stop you from fully living. So to make an ugly painting, invite that's all that is hidden, all the hidden ugliness to show up and out as you put paint on paper. Use your brush or your hands or any other thing that is around that can make a mark. Go ahead, scratch into the paint, put layers of paint down, throw paint, but don't tear up the painting. Part of healing is to own all the parts of you, the non-perfect parts of you, the perceived ugly parts of you, the messy parts of you. Pick a color, put it on the paper. Pick a color and put it onto paper. Smear it around. Where in your body is this terror of making something not perfect? Let that part of your body lead the way. Find that part of your body that is going, no way. I want out of here. This is insane. I want to make a pretty painting. I want to make a pretty life. Well, you can't do either until you go back and accept all the parts of you, the beautiful parts of you, the ugly parts of you, the non-perfect parts of you, because really they're all part of this luminous, whole, beautiful being of you. So feel in to the resistance you are meeting in your body right now. Take some color, put it on the paper. Take more color and put it onto the paper. Just keep moving. Try not to step back or look back or judge it or create a story around it. Stay in the process of your body inviting the non-perfect part of you to come out into the world. This is a judgment-free area, right? You and your judgment about what's showing up and judgment of anybody in your home that's going to look at this later. This work is like deep personal journal work, right? Honor everything that comes out. Keep moving, keep painting. If there's a sound that comes out, let a sound come out. You can start screaming and adding paint and throwing paint. Just keep moving. It's just kids paint. It washes off, pretty much so. Washes out of your hands, it washes out of your clothes. Just keep painting. Honor all that you are. Honor the messy parts, the together parts, the adult parts, the tantrum parts. Let them all come out on the paper. The best way to get to know yourself is just with one brushstroke at a time. And just keep painting, just keep painting, just keep painting. In March, there's a possibility that I may move these calls over to Sunday morning so we can have like Sunday morning paint parties together. But I'll let you know and I'll keep you up on that. Just keep checking the website. And in fact, if you don't mind, go ahead and like this page and like this post if you like it. If it was helpful for you, if it was insightful for you. Also, if you check out my website, DominiCelebrate.com, I have a lot of really interesting downloadable online classes that you can download and do more painting from your heart, paint from your inner landscape. Um, Sorry, we're in the middle of a snowstorm here, and the snow plow just came up to the driveway. So there's a couple classes that you can download on my website. One is called Looking Within, Painting as a Spiritual Practice. It's a 7-day or a lifelong practice, but it gives you the tools and exercises and meditations to kick in. There's also one to explore your outer landscape, which is called Conversations with Land Photo Journey. And the ones there's two of them up right now. One is to connect with the energy of winter around you, and the other one is to connect with the energy of spring around you. Because I'm up in the northern hemisphere, we are shifting or doing the dance between winter and spring right now. So getting to connect with the outer and inner aspects of yourself rejuvenates you. It connects you with something so much greater than you think. It connects you to the divine that's in you and around you. So keep on painting. Feel free to reach out and share any comments or thoughts about this post and other posts. And I thank you. I thank you for watching, listening, and connecting. Mwah. See you next week.